Hello. 皆さん、こんにちは。私の名前はLaurentです。ベルギーから来ました。ベルギー。これはベルギー。wait. Sumimasen. Very bad joke. Wait. I will do something. Sorry. Okay. Now I can see the next slide. Nihongo o tabemasen. I have to speak English now. Actually, not English, Franglish. English spoken by French speakers. It is a bit different. So, bonjour everyone. My name is Laurent. I am from Belgium. I'm sorry, I'm a bit stressed out. So, yeah, serious now, serious. I read that to be fluent in Japanese language, you need to know about 2,500 kanji. Kanji, if you don't know, are Chinese characters. Japanese has three types of characters. The first two are easy, the last one is kanji. It is very hard. I started learning Japanese in 2004. It is 11 years ago. I know about 100 kanji, more or less. And kanji is very hard. Ichi, Nissan, easy, and then it's very hard. Anyway, I have 2,400 kanji left to learn, and so I decided I could write a Ruby script to determine when I will be fluent in Japanese. So the time for me to learn 100 kanji was about 11 years. And based on that, I can calculate how much time it will need me to know the rest of the kanji, right? Which is 24 multiplied by 11. And the value is 264. This is years, right? Years. So this year plus 264 is 2,279. This is year 2,279. So in this year, I can give a talk in Japanese at RubyKaigi number 273. Hopefully, Rails will scale at that time. We don't know. And it's a picture of Tokyo in a future. Anyway, so my name is Laurent. I'm a software hacker and company founder. This is a picture of my profile. 50% business and 50% programming. I was a Perl programmer in 2002 until I discovered Ruby. Now Ruby is my favorite language. So I switched from Perl to Ruby. I worked for Apple for about 8 years after that on many projects, from applications like iCal, iSync, iLife, iPhoto, iDVD, to OS X, all the OS X releases from Tiger to Mountain Lion. I work on Unix, Darwin. Darwin is the foundation of iOS and OS X. When I was at Apple, we integrated RubyCocoa, bridge between Ruby and Objective-C Runtime, into OS X. I rewrote most of it, and I was a maintainer. And then I created MacRuby, an implementation of Ruby at Apple. And after 2012, I decided to create my own company and do products, so RubyMotion. Now it's much simpler, just one icon. So I'm also the founder of Orval.club, important to mention, an association of people who strongly believe that Orval is the best beer of the world. This is a picture of the beer. We have a website. I wrote the website myself. I'm not a good website programmer, but I have an important news to make today. We have Orval Gem available. It was written by Juanito. It is a picture of Juanito here. So you can install Gem install Orval. Then you can type Orval and you get commands. It tells you, teach you more about the beer, and if you want to join the club. It also prints Orval logo in ASCII. And Orval is popular in Japan too. I saw that in Shibuya a few days ago. This is Orval bottle in light. And also, Kakutani-san said to do Orval on Twitter. And then 3 hours and 38 minutes later, he posted this. He found a bottle. So I think we can have members of Orval.club in Japan. So RubyMotion. Now I have to talk about RubyMotion, right? It's a toolchain to write native mobile apps in Ruby. It is cross-platform. It works on iOS and OS X. It also works on iOS and Android, sorry. It also works on if you want to write apps on OS X, but most people want to write mobile apps. It is designed for Ruby programmers. So if you are a Ruby programmer, RubyMotion it will feel like home. So you get to use the terminal and your favorite text editor. There are no IDEs. There are Ruby gems. You can use all the Ruby syntax you want. So if you're a Ruby programmer, you will like it. And the idea is to provide a consistent experience for cross-platform native development. Right now, if you want to do cross-platform native development, so using the real native tools, you have to use different languages and different IDEs and learn different set of APIs. So it's not consistent. So for iOS, you need to use Objective-C and Xcode or Swift, and on Android, you need to use Java and Android Studio. This is a table that represents more or less the state of cross-platform native development today. So as you can see, there are different languages, different IDEs, a different set of APIs. And with RubyMotion, we want to fix the 2 first rows, at least now in the present. So with RubyMotion, you use Ruby on both platforms, and you use your favorite text editor and the terminal. So you don't need to learn. You don't need to learn and also switch between languages, and you don't need to learn and switch between IDEs. And inside RubyMotion, there are many parts of RubyMotion. The first are unified runtimes, unified Ruby runtimes. If you look at them, there are actually custom implementations of the Ruby language for each platform. We have one for iOS and OS X, and also WatchOS and tvOS, which are all based on the same thing. And we have one for Android. There are 2 separate code bases. For iOS, we decided to rewrite the Ruby language on top of the same runtime that powers Objective-C. Objective-C is a dialect of C, but it's very dynamic language. It's more like Smalltalk. And it's using internally a small C library called the Objective-C runtime to power its object-oriented structure, like defining classes, methods, sending objects. And we use the same library to actually implement the Ruby language. So using this technique, every object that you create in Ruby, in RubyMotion, are actually true Objective-C objects, and vice versa. We can access all the Objective-C objects, classes, and methods directly from Ruby, as if they were defined in Ruby. And actually, there is no such thing as defining Ruby in RubyMotion, because it's all using the same runtime. So it is very different from bridge technologies, where you have two existing runtimes talking to each other with a bridge and a middleware. Here, there is no bridge, there is no middleware, so it's very native. And for Android, we did the exact same thing, a little bit more complicated. Android is using Java for everything, and we didn't want to rewrite Ruby in Java. So instead, we're using GNI, which is the C API of the Java virtual machine. Android exposes GNI. It's not a full implementation, but it's enough for our needs. So we decided to use this C API of the JVM to rewrite the Ruby runtime. And using this, we have the exact same design ID than RubyMotion iOS. All the objects that you create in RubyMotion on Android are true Java objects, and vice versa. Android comes with a very big Java API to write Android apps, and you can call all these API from Ruby. They are all exposed. This is a hello world for iOS. It is long, but sadly, this is how it should be done. This is idiomatic iOS programming. So you can take this code, and if you take this code and write it in Swift or in Objective-C, it will be the same number of lines. So here, Ruby is not smaller. But it shows you that everything that you can see here are actually iOS APIs. Like, for instance, UI label is a class defined in UIKit, a framework of Apple. And the same thing goes for UI screen, UI window. All the methods that you see using the camel case syntax are actually defined by Apple. But here we call them from Ruby, and it works. And if you type rake on this project, you get the simulator. So just one command. And for Android, it is more or less the same thing. Here, what you see here would be the same, well, a bit shorter, but it would be almost the same if you had to write it in Java. Android widget text view is a class defined by Google in Android. So what you see here is, you might wonder why are we doing this? But the idea is that if you use the same language on both platforms, you can share code, and obviously it's easier. If you type rake and you wait, you can get the Android emulator running. This one is RubyMotion, so it's fast. If you use the built-in Ruby emulator, it takes time. Also, RubyMotion is different from other Rubies because we have static compilation. Static compilation is very, very different from other Rubies. Other Rubies will transform Ruby into bytecode and then interpret bytecode at runtime. Or they will also do just-in-time compilation of the bytecode. Here, we take another process. We generate an executable for you, or object files. And then at runtime, there are no more interpretation. So we have machine code right away. So we take Ruby script, and then we transform it into LLVM IR. We use LLVM for static compilation. It's a great framework to write compilers. And we apply optimization passes on the bytecode until we have something we like. Then we can generate assembly for platforms we target. ARM 32-bit or 64-bit, Intel 32-bit or 64-bit. And eventually we have a binary that will run at runtime. So in static compilation, RubyMotion apps are actually native binaries. For iOS, it's a native executable, just exactly like iOS or Swift, Objective-C or Swift. For Android, it is a GNI native library. For Android, we build a Dalvik application, very small, with a few lines of Java. We have to generate DEX bytecode for the class structure. I don't have time to describe that, but it's a limitation of Android. But everything else, all the entire code that you write is actually a GNI native library. It's a shared library that will be loaded by the Dalvik application. So the original Ruby source code is not present in the application bundle. So you will not find .rb files in the application. And we actually try to generate very small executables. So normally the code should be a couple megabytes. Also in RubyMotion, we have a command line interface. So you can use your terminal plus any editor you want. Obviously, you should use Vim. But you can also use Sublime or other editors, or even Emacs if you have more than 10 fingers. I only have 10 fingers, so. And you can create new projects easily using the command line, motion create -- template. -- template lets you select the type of projects you want to create. If you edit the rec file, you will see the project configuration. In RubyMotion, you don't have to use Xcode or Eclipse or Android Studio. Everything is in the rec file. The entire project configuration is in the rec file. And actually, if you create a project, there is only one line by default. It sets the name of the project. Everything else is derived from default values. If you want to run your app, you can do rake or rake simulator. In Android, you can do rake or rake emulator. And for device, if you connect your iOS or Android device, you can do rake device. And all these steps will compile your application for a certain platform, and then they will run it. If you have a device connected, for iOS it's more complex. You need to download provisioning profiles and certificates. For Android, you just plug it and it works. And rake device will push the application on device and then run it. And once you are ready to make money, right, you can submit on the App Store. We have also rake tasks to generate you a package that you can just submit to Apple or Google. Quick note, we have a partnership with JetBrains. JetBrains are the authors of RubyMine. And RubyMine is a great Ruby IDE, but it's also the best IDE for RubyMotion. Because iOS APIs are very, very long, JetBrains wrote a very nice RubyMotion support for a RubyMine. So you just type the few characters of a method, and it will just auto complete what you want to type next. It is smart auto completion, so it uses the context of what you wrote before. So for here, I can't really read. But it actually knows that these methods are actually defined in the class UI type gesture recognizer. So it doesn't just try everything from the top level. There is also documentation. This is refactoring. There is also a debugging experience. With the debugger, you can just point and click where you want to break, exactly like Visual Studio or Xcode. And then it will just break for you visually, and you can see the backtrace. It's very nice. It works also on the device, so you can debug apps on the device. And also, there is support for testing. RubyMotion comes with a nice testing framework, similar to AirSpec. So you can do agile programming, I think that's the name, if you want to write tests before. But you can use RubyMine as well. And if you want to know more, JetBrains has a website, jetbrains.com/ruby/RubyMine. So very quickly, recently we released RubyMotion Starter. It's a free version of RubyMotion. In the past, RubyMotion used to be completely commercial. Now we have a free version. Free? Is it free? Is it free? No, it's free as in beer. Free as in beer. It is fully featured, so it supports iOS and Android. And the key is that applications that you generate with RubyMotion Starter have a splash screen. For about 1 second. And if you want to remove the splash screen, you have to buy a subscription. Yeah. So you can download RubyMotion on rubymotion.com/download. Remember that link, right? So for iOS, the latest version is iOS 9.2 and Xcode 7.2. It's supported by RubyMotion. Actually, it's a few hours after it was released. You can target it very easily using the reg file. And we support all the versions of iOS less or more than 24 hours after the release. So, and you can download it on rubymotion.com/download. Android M is the latest version of Android, or known as Android 6.0. It is API level 23, so you can target it also in the reg file. By the way, RubyMotion supports new version of Android less or than 24 hours after release. So you can download RubyMotion for Android at rubymotion.com/download. Please remember that link. WatchRes 2.0. WatchRes 2.0 is different than WatchRes 1.0. It's native SDK for Apple Watch. Before, applications were running on phone that was connected on the Apple Watch, and you only had a simple view. Now with WatchRes 2.0, the application runs on the watch, and you have a new set of APIs that you can call. Here is an example. Okay, this is a very simple example of a WatchOS app written in RubyMotion that shows the latest value of Bitcoin. But the GIF was registered a few months ago, so now Bitcoin is higher. But you can use the application for your investments, right? It is all written in RubyMotion, and it runs on the watch. You can download WatchOS support of rubymotion.com/download. So tvOS, it is native SDK for the Apple TV. Apple TV released 4th generation of Apple TV. It runs iOS, and you can write apps for Apple TV. You can also write games for Apple TV. You can use a controller. It's very exciting. It was announced in mid-September. We support it in RubyMotion 2 weeks after. It is based on ARM64, iOS SDKs, there is a simulator, and there are a bit new frameworks, and they're all supported by RubyMotion. It used to be experimental, and now we have very good support for the Apple TV. And you can download it on rubymotion.com/download. OS X El Capitan. OS X El Capitan is the latest version of OS X, 10.11. It is supported by RubyMotion since WWDC. You can use RubyMotion on El Capitan, and also you can write El Capitan apps in RubyMotion. And all of this can be downloaded on rubymotion.com/download. Next, the new Apple mouse. It does not run apps, so there is nothing to download. Nothing to download. RubyMotion 4.6. RubyMotion 4.6 is a release we'll make today. RubyKaigi special release. Yeah. So we switch the entire toolchain to new LLVM version. So So it took us many days because LLVM breaks a lot of APIs. But with this, we can do LLVM bitcode embedding for iOS, watchOS, and tvOS App Store submissions. This is a new necessary requirement from Apple. You need to submit bitcode now to your submissions. So we support that. We also support the new LLVM debug metadata format. It generates very good dwarf metadata for both Android and iOS. Also, we have a safe navigation operator. It is 100% safe. It is a new feature of Ruby 2.3. We ported it to RubyMotion. It is experimental implementation. This is syntax of safe navigation operator. To be honest, I didn't try it. It is not syntax. Made a mistake. Nope. It should be add dot. Sorry. There is a mistake in the slide, so don't pay attention. You probably don't pay attention to this as well. It is the next part is supposed to be what the first part does. I think I confused. Yeah, but it works. We have tests, so yeah. And you can download all of this in RubyMotion.com/download. But in a few minutes, we have to push the release. So Motion Game. Motion Game is a project of us. You can create games for iOS and Android, and actually cross-platform games for iOS and Android. It is fully features. It has physics, particles, parallax, networking APIs. It has the concept of a screen graph, events, and sprites. But more importantly, it is based on Cocos 2D-X. We didn't write everything from scratch. We used an existing library. One code base that runs on iOS and Android. It is 100% cross-platform, and today we are going to ship Motion Game 1.1 with Apple TV support. So it is new work. So one code base now that can push on iOS, tvOS, and Android. And I will show you a demo right now, very quick. We invented a brand new revolutionary game for you, which I call Flappy Sushi. And it is really new. You have never seen it. So this is Flappy Sushi. I will show it to you now. How much time do I have left? 12 minutes, okay. Let's go. So here I have a very basic application in Motion Game. You can read that. And it does nothing. There is a black screen. Why? Because there is nothing in the file. So I'm going to write the game in front of you. I'm not going to write the game. I'm going to cheat. I have an app here to do copy-paste of code snippets. So I will do the code snippets in front of you. Skyline. Add ground. Up. So here we define two methods, add skyline and add ground. They both define two sprites, skyline.png and ground.png. Why exactly two copies of the same sprite? That's a good question. I will tell you after. But here I can call my methods. Add ground, here we go. And here in my update, method update is the method that's called every frame. I can move the background now. The idea is that to have the idea of an animation, we want a background that's moving like this. So I have two images, they move it, and when this one is over, I put it there, like this. Oops, sorry. I don't know how to do video game development, but I figured out that was the smartest way. So if I type break iOS simulator, I have my skyline and ground moving, right? Wait. We are far to be finished. Now we can add a bird method. Add bird, and I will call add bird here. Add bird creates a sprite, a bird, and it puts it in the middle of the screen. So now, very quickly, we can run again. Okay, my sushi is here. Sorry. And actually, I can access my bird here. Yes, this is my bird. And I can, for instance, ask for its position and say you should move to a bit further. And the second argument is the time, so 2 seconds. Ooh, it's moving. Move, move again. Oh. Okay, that's funny. You can also make it blink 10 times in 2 seconds. This is very fun when you do collisions, when you want to do old school thing. And this is my bird, right? So I can move it anywhere, but right now it's not fun. So we are going to add some physics properties. So we add physics categories here. I define 2 integers, 2 fixed name integers, bird and word. Then here I'm going to initialize the physics engine. I set the gravity of my word to 0 and minus something. I don't know the units here, but it's supposed to be like Earth, I think. Now here in my ground, when I create my ground images, they're on the bottom, I'm going to define physics properties on my ground. Sorry. So basically, I attach a physics box to my ground, and I say that its category is the word, and it can contact the bird. And vice versa. Here, I'm going to add the same for my bird. I say that the category of the bird is bird, but the contact mask is word. So basically, I want the physics engine to know when the bird is contacting the word. Finally, here, I can define onTouch callback. This will be called when the user presses the touch, sends the touch event to the game. Here, what we do is that we play a small sound, then we apply a velocity. So the bird will actually move a little bit it will move upper. And finally here, I am going to rotate my bird based on its velocity. So it took me a while to get this working, and don't ask me about the mathematics here. But basically, if the bird is moving up, we want the bird to be rotated like this. And if it falls, we want the bird to be rotated like this. Anyway, let's try again. Oh, crash. Initialize contents, game and see. Oh, that's old. That's MG. We change that module. Sorry. Okay. Boom. As you can see, by default, the bird collides to the word. Oh, it's moving. Every time I touch, it moves. As you can see, it rotates, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to finish the game very quickly. I'm going to initialize pipe here. I'm going to add pipe. Okay, make pipe up here. I don't have time to explain this anymore. We don't have much time, so every 2 seconds I make a pipe appear. The pipe is here. So it creates 2 sprites that are moving. And finally here I can detect collision. Here we go. Quick. What did happen here? 26. What did I do? Oh. Oh, yes. Thank you. Arigato. Okay. Now I have my real game with the pipes, right? Oh. Anyway, no. I will. I will show you quickly the same in Android, same code base. And then I will show you on the Apple TV. We have an Apple TV here, and then we can go. We can finish. Android takes too much time. Actually, we can go direct. Oh, wait, now it's working. Okay. Now it's starting. Phew. Ah, this is my game. This is the same game, same code base, but it runs on Android with the same effect. Okay? And now very quickly. I've pre-installed the game on Apple TV here, which I will plug here. The sound. Let's see. Okay. 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 Sorry, sumimasen. So this was running natively on the Apple TV. Just so that you know, there are no magics here. The sound, yeah. So I don't have time for the rest. Yeah, so now RubyMotion is as seen on TV. It will be released next week. It will be open source. No, it will be free software. There, right? Gem install, motion game. We have a new project also, but I don't have time so to talk about it. It's called Flow. So I will go straight to the rest. So please download RubyMotion, this address, and thank you.